Okay, I'll get 8:32. Ready? Good morning, everybody. We'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. We'll start off with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. We've got the auditor, please call the roll.
Scott Caldwell.
Here.
Gary Pearson. And Fred Walker.
Again, good morning, everybody. The calendar of upcoming events. The next commissioners meeting is December the 21st. The next county council meeting is December the 9th. And as a reminder, the courthouse will be closed December the 24th, 25th, and January 1st. For you, you have the minutes of the November meeting.
Approval.
Fred moves approval.
Harry wasn't here.
I'll second. All those in favor? 2-0. Department heads. Is Harold here yet? No. Laura, good morning.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm fine, how are you?
Good. What can we do for you today?
Well, I was here, the commissioners had a camera for vital records that they used to use to scan the old books that we have, like the commissioners' minutes and the old books and all the other offices that we have. Well, most of the books have been done I know that in the recorder's office, all the ones on the wall in the back room have been scanned. And I know that the clerk's office, all the ones on the wall, except for maybe a couple marriage books that they have underneath that need to be scanned later on. And then I know that the commissioner's minutes in the auditor's office, some need to be scanned. They haven't been scanned since about probably 2001, since Linda McIntyre had quit for me, was working for me then, and she quit. And then we got Buzz Kraft, and then we had Dino. And we checked when Dean started to work for me in 2004, and that camera is obsolete, and we can't get film for it. So it's your camera that's over here in that office, and when Dean leaves December the 31st, I'm gonna have to move stuff up to my office, so I really don't think that we should maybe keep that. Well, no, I don't really wanna move it up there, because it doesn't work, and we can't get film for it. So since it's your camera, I just wanted your permission to do something with it, or if we need to take it to the landfill before it closes, or whatever we need to do with that. I'll have to go to Portland, I guess. Okay, since it's electronics and stuff, so I just needed your permission to, and I will look into try to getting another camera of some sort to do old books, and I can take care of that in my recorder's perpetuation for the camera.
When was the last scanning done?
It was done, let's see, Linda left October of 2001, that's when she left.
15 years.
And that's when the last time it's ever been used.
So you need new equipment for you to scan. New equipment.
You might get a penny maybe, but I just need your permission. Go ahead. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. So, Dorinda, good morning.
Hello.
What can we do for you?
I just need to let you know, and I need that come January 1st, because I only have 2 other employees in me, and I'm gonna shut my office from 12 to 1, just like the courts do, because I can't just leave one girl in there, and if somebody has to have vacation, that leaves one person. And the amount of money that comes through my office, there's just no way that I can let just one person in there. So I wanna close it from 12 to 1, starting January.
What are the other offices?
We're open.
And if they only have one, then shut their door.
Yeah, if we leave, we shut our door.
But because of the money that comes through there, I just can't let just one person in there. Never have, I mean, I've always had two people. Unless you want to send me the security guard up there at lunchtime.
There's two people there that are both with the county and the money comes in, about
They just know they would have to come back because we're the only ones that collect the child support, and we're the only ones that collect court costs when that comes through. No other office collects that for us. State Board of Accounts doesn't have one. You can think
One
about
problem
it,
I
I just
see
need to
is
tell
that
you.
under Indiana Code, under Rule 72, it says the clerk's office with the clerk or a deputy in attendance shall be open during business hours on all days except Saturdays, Sundays, and winter holidays. That
Courts
actually
aren't-
goes for all the offices.
I don't know, that's fine with me, but I just don't know how we're gonna do it. They just won't go lunch. Three of us could do it because we could do it, but with just two people, one of you gotta leave, one of you can't just stay.
Well, good. Have a motion, a second, taken under advisement. Go back to you next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, Lisa, as far as the tax refund to the city for facility.
I know Dana and Judy worked on this, and they came up with, the refunds for the city was $10,288.23, then less the ditch fees of $212, which the total is $10,076.23. That does not include interest. And we need to decide whether you're gonna give them interest or not on that $10,000.
So who was involved in getting this list? Kathy?
Judy and Jim is the one that gave us the list. Judy and I went through all of them. They required to remove all ditch assessments. We didn't do that. We took off, there was a couple parcels for this year's spring that they did get charged just because a code got taken off exempt, so we plan on refunding that and we took off the fall.
How much was the original request?
It was over 20,000, I believe.
These are properties that were held by the city that were inappropriately being taxed, and no one knew this for quite some time, is that
No,
correct?
it was for a year only.
For 1 year only?
Yes.
So it was caught till after you're
Right,
comfortable with the list you put together,
yes,
you mentioned.
yes.
So these are all for 1 year?
There is one that last year got paid $1,400. But other than that, yes, that was that.
These are properties they were taxed for, paid, and should not have been taxed for.
Yes.
And this is the figure.
When did they pay the tax? In
Spring.
Spring.
Mhm.
So any interest would just be from spring?
Yes.
So then after the ditch fees, it's $10,076.23.
What's the interest rate?
I don't know how interested computer I don't know.
I don't know with that. That's our working relationship with the city, I don't think they would look over us not paying interest.
Mr. Chairman, I would move we'll go ahead and pay the $10,076.23.
Mr. Pearson moves to pay the $10,076.23 without interest to the city of Hartford City on taxes that they paid that they shouldn't have been charged for.
Second.
Mr. Walker seconds, all those in favor? 3-0. Thank you for your work on this. Appreciate it.
Fine.
Kathy, good morning.
Morning.
You got anything for us?
And I still need to talk to each of you individually.
Okay. Okay. Bruce?
Bids coming up for me this weekend.
Any of you ladies, you have anything? John? Mike? Sheriff? Tony?
Yep.
Max?
I have
Brenda?
a question. On my letter that I sent you, if you wanna talk to me, I'll take you to one of the individuals.
Okay. That'd be fine. All right. On the letter she sent, she might just talk to us individually. Okay, thank you. Any other department heads? Paul?
I don't know if this falls under that, on Harold Rogers,
Yeah.
we need to know how to pay after they close, because it's gonna be December 31st, right? How to pay like the per from, like, how we're gonna do full-time, part-time, for him to close that after the first year. Because he has no budget.
Could be a contract.
So like custom hire,
Yeah. So there wouldn't be any.
There's no benefits.
Yeah.
Yes, there are no benefits.
okay,
But there's a customer.
okay. So you would get like a per for?
No,
No, you will not.
not after December 31st.
Okay,
And then also on that
On
same,
each contract.
right,
contract,
after January 1st, he becomes a contract
Right.
employee, as needed.
okay.
And then with that, Bruce and I need to go out there hopefully this week and talk to him.
While you're on that, might be back with him in 2 days after January 1st, we will have him full-time.
That's what we're gonna talk about.
Okay.
Okay, Joe Casella was supposed to be here, hopefully he'll be here. Stylus, okay. The last meeting, we voted to go ahead and award the bid to Silas as far as his courthouse security cameras. Dependent on me talking to Judge Young, and he's in favor, which I have talked to him, he is in favor. So I think we already voted on that, so, Greg, we're gonna go with Silas, so
Okay, sir.
go ahead and get with them and do what needs to be done, okay?
Yes, sir.
Stone bids, Bruce?
Yes. You should have it.
She's got it right there.
Okay.
How do you get that through security? That's a good question.
First bid is from Rock Creek Stone Quarry in Blackford, Indiana.
What do you want?
What do you want, Bruce?
I would like to just take all of you guys and
Well, I mean, which one do you
I
want?
still have to read them.
We one, we, one.
give me,
He's got 20s, 53s, 73s, 2s, 1s, and 8s.
give me the 73s,
73s are $4.95 a ton.
okay.
Urban builders, urban gravel.
Next one is from Irving Brothers, Stone and Gravel.
Seventy-threes.
73s. Are $850 for commercial and $1075 for NDOT cap approved.
Okay.
Next is US Aggregates.
US Aggregates out of Indianapolis. 73 is $10. And we'll take these under advisement and let you look at them. Also under old business comes the matter of the East Central Indiana Regional Planning District. Whether or not to say part of that. This is the last. You gonna vote on that today or? Discussion.
Harry, you've served on that board.
Tom Armstrong, right, Tom? I've been on it, Mayor Vance has been on it, Ron Getz. All of them, Tom, I think that's, Bill has it on, so we've been on it for 2 or 3 years, right? We met, it was early summer, I think, and talked about quite a bit of public. And this was with the mayors at, in concert with, the development director entities within the county, and we're working together long enough. It would probably be as beneficial to the county as it would be going outside at this point, and being part of that. So it was our feeling at that point, unanimous, that we would withdraw and then take those resources and spend it within the county. Now, at some point, we may look at that and say, this does affect the ability to acquire grants, get those done in the county. We may change our mind later on, which we could do, but at that point, it's feeling we would withdraw a year, get my recommendation to you.
Any comments, Tom?
No, I think it's the right thing.
And I guess, as I read through the minutes, Bill was at the meeting last week, the last meeting, and they really favored it. And Bill's been the chairman, and I think done a good job, and we've talked about doing this sooner, but because he was a chairman, and usually that chairmanship changed every year, at least every 2 years. And he's done the chairman in the past, and we at least, out of respect for Bill, we were the year to make that change. So that's the reason for the
So you're in agreement, Tom?
I couldn't hear what he said.
Are you in agreement that it's probably the right thing to do?
Yes.
Move we not renew our membership to East Central Indiana Regional District.
Got a motion?
I'll second that.
We have a second, all those in favor? Larry Lillard, good morning.
Good morning.
How are you, Larry?
Well, not too bad.
Okay, we got a letter here from you that you would request, that you'd like to request a hearing with us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let's see. Larry, is there any time works better than another? Day or evening?
I don't care, it doesn't bother me either way, as long as
Okay.
the snow's not up to the eyebrows.
Okay. Yes, I mean. How about, we don't have a solid waste board meeting. It's like-
What's the appeal?
Seems to them, I'm not sure.
Okay. Stand that. So, you're asking for an appeal, right?
I wish to appeal your junk car ordinance that you put through. There's a lot of discrepancies there that you have no amount of distance off the road. You don't say where, you know, where the cars are running or not. In my case, I have several cars, and the time limit that was given basically to take care of these matters in the winter time, not during the summer, since you give this out in October, I think it was September, and then implement it in October. I think that if you're asking people to clean their yards and stuff up, you don't do it in the middle of winter. Because a lot of people are older people that have collected these things over a period of time, as Fred knows I have, where I live at. And another complaint I had is both my properties were targeted at once. And you know, the way that you go about targeting people in this county, you all start one end and come down through and go through everything, you know what I mean? From one end to the other. And another thing has to do with not only the junk cars and stuff, what about the dilapidating buildings that are falling down, the barns, the old farm equipment sitting around? You've targeted only people who own vehicles and stuff. This isn't a fair ordinance as far as that's concerned. If you're gonna have it where something is unsightly, is a health hazard, farm equipment, just the same as everything else, is a health hazard too. You have a junkyard out here in the country that his is more of an eyesore than what mine is. You know, and I agree, there's a lot of eyesores around, but a lot of these people have been there long enough that they should be able to grandfather into these things. You know, and you say from now on, all these other people, we can't do this no more. You just don't throw an ordinance in there like that and expect people, you know what I mean, clean it up in the period of time that you put in this ordinance. Even though the man back here is giving me more time and stuff, they give it to me on 2 properties and stuff. I just had a death in the family, just got a boy out of prison and stuff. I'm going through a financial crisis of my own because there was no money to bury my brother. I can't erect a fence with no money. It was more important to bury my brother and get him in the ground and put a fence up around this stuff. And a lot of my vehicles are running vehicles and movable vehicles and stuff. I don't think that the people that got vehicles and stuff that run should have been targeted. I know I have a few cars that don't run. Some of them cars are old cars that are up on my side, on my concrete pads and stuff, in front of my garage and stuff. And I believe that if I'm paying my taxes and stuff, and the distance I set off the road and stuff, are you gonna be able to use binoculars and zoom cameras to zoom in on people's properties and stuff, so you can say, you know, that they can't have this stuff? I mean, you ought to have some distance off the road. I'm the only house on my whole block. I was out there for over almost 2 months with the road flooded out, and nobody seemed to care about that. I mean, you know, I'm just at a place, you know, that, and I talked to him back here, what your name was? Mike. And I told him, I said, and within a year, my house will be paid off, and I'm gonna build a big pole barn and put this stuff in. I don't like looking at the stuff any more than anybody else, but you know what? I'm a collector. I collect things. That's what I do. I enjoy that. And I think I should have the right, if I'm paying the taxes on my property, to be able to do what I want on it. You know, if I'm breeding rats and stuff out there, just like all the green bins and stuff do for all the farmers and stuff, I mean, you know, there's no difference in what's going on there than what's going on just as out here at the tow-in place, because his stuff is not being taken to the scrap yards and gotten rid of. He's just used that as a dropping zone there. There's not people coming and getting in vehicles. I drive by there every day. I know there ain't no change in that stuff. Now and then you might see a vehicle moved out of there, but like I said, if it's gonna be fair, it's gonna be fair clear across the board. And that includes the farmers, got old equipment sitting around and stuff. A lot of people just don't have the money to put all this stuff in a building like everybody would like. or put all the plates on them at once, you know? There's vehicles I got, there are summer vehicles that sit there, and there's other vehicles that are winter vehicles that sit there. And I just believe that some of them's been targeted. Now, I do have some that are not running, and I've told Mike back here this. But my boy's one of the vehicles, and he just got out of prison. He hasn't had a chance to get ready to get his vehicle back on the road yet, and he's not even allowed out of the house to do it. And my whole question was that if you're gonna implement something, you should start this and give the people a written letter, not a certified letter, threaten them and tell them that they ought to be getting this done within so many days or they're gonna be fined $100 per vehicle. That ordinance should have been taken effect during the spring when people have a chance to do spring cleanup and get the vehicles in and out of areas. Not just targeted, you know, like, well, we don't like this guy, so we're gonna turn him in, you know. And for both of my places to be done at once and be told that I'm only got 30 days to do both places, when there's nobody to help me, I thought it was a little unjust. And I think that the ordinance is a little vague about, it eliminates certain groups of people that have old buildings that are falling down, barns, old farm equipment sitting around. And even out there around where you're at, Harry, there's cars out there all down that road there on the highways. I'm on a back road, you know? I'm on a T road. I just don't see where I got singled out all of a sudden for two properties, and there's so many people around that hasn't even been targeted. I think that you should have started on one end of the county and went across. Not start over there and then go clear out here and get me again. Don't you think that's a little funny?
Hey, Mike, how many properties did you send letters to?
Joe, there's a chair up here.
Was it just 2 or 3 properties, or?
No, I know it wasn't, but the thing about it is
He's getting the answer there. I'd like to get the answer here first.
11 last month, and there's about 4 I've hand delivered.
and 2 of them was mine.
15.
Okay.
Roughly 15.
My question is though, how did you proceed in this? Did you go from one end of the county and come across and do things, or did you start here and there and wherever?
The first one I found, I was going on another complaint and seeing it on Woman Road.
Another complaint.
On another situation.
So you took it upon yourself not to give me days on one property, but to do both properties at once.
No, when I looked up the property, then I seen on the map the other, so I went out and verified it, there was a problem out on 300, because it's on the map in 2011, the vehicle sitting on the property. So I went out and
But it didn't
verified
say that they were junk vehicles. You just determined because they were sitting there, they all were all junk
it.
vehicles.
Well, I've seen some wrecked and appeared to be broken windows and.
Those vehicles have been removed since then, but all the other vehicles sitting there are running vehicles to start and drive.
Then I've had some complaints on different places in the county, and some just driving down roads.
Okay, but if you're gonna do an ordinance, you shouldn't just go on complaints, you ought to start, if you're gonna clean this county up, to be realistic, you need to start a point to go down and do all of them, and go from road down and road back, all the way across the county, and cite them as you go. I don't think you should be just helter-skelter and whatever, and then when you get down with all the people that you don't like or something, or somebody don't like, then people have been targeted. I think that you should, if you're gonna do it and do it fairly, that you need to start at one part of the county and do the whole sweep of the county, and let's get it cleaned up. And I'll agree with all that. But when you just do this ordinance and then pick on certain people, you know, because this Joe Blow up the road don't like me or something, and you cite me for it, I don't think that's fair. Am I supposed to be the next Joe Blow, go down the road and cite somebody else? Is that how it goes around here, a snitch? No, I think that if you're gonna do a cleaning of this county and you really wanna do this, then you should start on one end of the county and work your way across it and do it. So you can do it effectively. And make it a fair situation. And do it when the summertime is here so that people can get the stuff cleaned up. Just don't send out threatening letters that you're gonna implement, you know what I mean, punishment to them. in the middle of the winter here. I can't tell you when to pass your ordinance, but you should have at least enough decency to do it when people can clean their properties up and do it fairly, you know? That's my whole biggest complaint about this situation. I mean, people pay their property taxes and stuff, and people, I moved out of town here because I had 2 cars sitting behind my mom's house, and they rode me for years. Now, I've been in the country over 30 years now at that same location, and you give me, and I thank you for it, you give me 30 days, plus the other days that I had. But you know, I'm one person. I can't get all the stuff moved, I can't stick it up my whatever, you know, in that amount of time. Because I'm 64 years old, and you know, being out in this weather and stuff, sometimes you just can't go out because of the way the weather is. You can't move stuff, you can't do nothing with
How
this
many
rain stuff.
cars have you moved since the summer?
Probably about 8 or 10 out here at the other property.
You have started one.
I started on both properties. I have all the cars that are running pulled up front at the Wellman Road property, so they can see the movable cars, drivable cars. I haven't got a chance to get the for sale signs and stuff because of my brother passing away and the circumstance of me having to take care of these problems. Problems that, you know, overwhelm this other problem. So like I said, I'm working on it, but I don't think that the date that you guys have given, and I'm not talking about the 30 days that you give me wasn't fair, Mike, on certain things. I'm just saying that if you're gonna implement a cleanup, you need to start at one end of the county and let's clean it up. Let's get it right. Just like the city, if you're gonna, I know you guys ain't involved in that, but if you're gonna clean these houses up and dirt, houses falling down, they wrote me about my houses down there, my dad, and I finally got them to tear them down, and it looks so much better. Now, I agree to 100% of that. I had to fight my sister over the stinky stuff, but I got it done. So I'm willing to work with people and stuff, but I'm just saying that implementing this during the winter time and trying to get people to go in there and clean things up. And a lot of these people are older people that have this stuff for years and years and years, you know. Doesn't mean it ain't an eyesore. But you know, they didn't get an eyesore overnight. And it takes time to go through and take care of all these problems. You just can't say, well, give me 5 days, 10 days, 15 days in the middle of winter and do it. You should have sent out letters if this was the case, not registered letters threatening people. Letters should have been sent out saying that your house has been targeted as a problem. And come such and such date, if we don't see progress in the beginning of the spring through the summer, come a certain date, then we will implement fines and stuff. That's all I ask of you, is be fair about it. And do the same thing not only to the people who own cars and stuff, do the same thing about buildings that need tore down, grass that needs mowed, farm equipment that's sitting out in the open like that that is not being used. Mr. Walker has plenty of places over there, and his place looks really nice from where he's got all his equipment stuff put up. But us poor people, a lot of us can't afford to buy buildings and stuff all the time, you know? I'm on a fixed income. So that's what my whole thing is here, is I wanted to come in here and approach you people about this, because it doesn't, Dave Justice out there, his is no less an eyesore of what mine is, or no more. It's no more a health hazard than mine is, except he's got more vehicles. And just because he's zoned for a business, that don't give him a get out of jail free card on being that way, you know? An eyesore's an eyesore, and a health problem's a health problem.
Lord, you mentioned about being so far off the road. How far do you think these should be?
Well, I don't know, you know, if you're only, if people want to drive around the countryside and look and gawk and get the binoculars out, zoom cameras on people and stuff, I don't think that, you know, if you're in a district where you got 3 or 4 houses together, I can understand the neighbors complaining, they go by there every day and every day. Down my road, unless, you know, the people just live within a mile or 2 of me, people don't go down my road every day. Not on the road where I live. Now, they do on Wilman Road. But yeah, I think there ought to be a distance off the road that you're allowed to have things. And the difference, what you could do to the property, rather than just remove everything, where you can put a fence up or something like that. But you have to have time. You have to be able to get the money together to do that, because a lot of people don't have a bankroll to just pull off of. So I think there ought to be a distance off the road, put in that article that you wrote up there in the ordinance, and I think the time limit needs to be changed on the thing, and I think it also needs to be changed who it all affects. And that was my whole concern about the stuff.
Okay. When you had sent a letter in as far as requesting an appeal, did you just say what you wanted to say during the appeal?
No, I've got more to say, I just figured I didn't take up all your time.
We've got to do this in a public meeting. Appeal's got to be done in a public meeting.
So,
Let's go, keep right on going, as far as I'm concerned. I mean, unless you guys want to get an advisement. I think now's the time to hear it. He's here. Let's hear it. And if we can either do something or we'll take an advisement.
I guess if you have anything else that you want to share at this point, I'd still at some point like to take an invite and talk with Mike about maybe some, how we would deal with this particular situation. And I'm not sure at this point we can say here exactly what kind of time frame we want to look at.
Right,
And
yeah.
what vehicles have to be moved, what don't have to be moved. And, I think there's some extenuating circumstances we need to look at and take those into consideration.
Do you agree that it needs to be modified? With some other conclusions put in there too?
At the same time, you can't say, well, you've got to need to write an ordinance at a certain time, so the weather is going to be such.
I didn't
At some
say
point,
that.
put an ordinance in place, it's going to be continuous, so you may
Right.
want to look at the timeframe within that ordinance so that the person has more opportunity to get things.
That's what I was
taken care of.
stating there. I wanted to make sure that people were able to do it in the summertime when it was spring cleaning, when it could be taken place and taken care of properly instead of.
Okay, answer me this then. So you're saying right now, there's too much mud out there to take care of moving your vehicles, is that what you're saying?
In places there is, yes,
And on your property right now?
yes. Not only
I'm
that.
having a difficult time in my mind thinking about how much rain we've got the last 2 months, how that could be a problem.
Well, I could say it could be a problem because you dig down in the yard, you tear your yards completely up. It ain't like in the summertime when the ground's dried up and you can take and pull the stuff wherever you need to and get them, so you can get a fence and stuff built. Also, you got a problem with putting fence in this time of year too.
How's that?
Well, because finding somebody having the money to do it, doing it around the holidays and stuff, I believe that you guys still should have given a city ordinance where you can do it in summertime and a written letter been sent out to people instead of just giving them so many days to do it, especially with the accumulation of 30 years. You can't do that in, a short period of time and stuff, so. And like I said,
What
I
are some of
think,
the other issues that you want to bring up?
well, I just think that the ordinance need to be modified for the limits off the distance off of the ground, off the road, that they can, cite you for stuff, and I think also the, there's something else I could say. But I think that, and the date that it should go into effect and stuff, should have been changed instead of just right out of the get-go and they start sending out registered letters to people threatening them to, file stuff against them. I think you should be allowed the summertime to get this cleaned up. If you're in violation in this ordinance at the beginning of the fall of the following year that you got the ordinance thing give to you, then you should implement fines and levies, whatever you have to do then.
Mr. Lillard, do you know how many vehicles you have in total that,
I don't know, I probably got 45 titles.
do you know how many really need to be moved out then?
I'm sorry?
How many really need to be moved out then? Would you be willing to say that this shouldn't be around here any longer, that I need to get rid of it?
I've moved them outside.
No, I mean get rid of them from off your property.
Why should I get off my property if they're out of sight?
If they're in the building, they're not out, they are out of sight.
Well, wait a minute. Why should they have to be in a building? Is Mr. Justice's stuff out here in a building?
Well, I think you've already mentioned he's zoned different. He's zoned as a business. And you had that, I guess you had that opportunity to come to BZA and say, I'd like to be rezoned.
Well, then you had to go through your neighbors and stuff, and they'll appeal that and
That's
stuff.
correct.
Well,
That's true.
I might as well save my breath.
You're correct, that's true.
So, like I said, as long as it's not in the public's view, it shouldn't affect anybody. Because that's what this is all about. in view and a health hazard there. Well, there's nobody living around me, so how's it a health hazard?
But it is currently in public's view, correct?
Right, and I've got a lot of vehicles that run that are in public's view. You know, I've got a lot of vehicles. So that's what I'm saying. You shouldn't do this in the wintertime where people don't have a chance to do things. I even talked to him about doing it a year so I could go ahead and get a pole barn built to get them all taken care of.
But you said you got 30 years accumulation?
On one property, yes.
Okay. You got some on another property?
Yes.
Okay.
15, he says 15 on one, 15 on the other, which I didn't count them because it doesn't matter to me because I'm the one that looks at them every day. It's the so-called passerbys that are complaining, you know? Like I said, if you're gonna do an ordinance, clean the county up from one end to the next. Don't just jump and skip around because somebody calls you in. Because that just turns everybody into snitches then. I mean, I could go around, I could say, somebody you know's got vehicles sitting up there that don't run and stuff, been sitting there for a long time. If you adrift, I mean.
And I got farm equipment sitting out, and it's gonna keep sitting out, because I do use it occasionally.
Yeah.
So,
Well, occasionally I use these vehicles too, but I don't use them every day.
But I'm also, it's also in agriculture, and it's part of the business. And it may be used once a year, it may be used every 2 or 3 years, but it's still part of the business.
Well, that's the people that got money's loopholes, I guess.
No.
But that's my whole complaint on things, and I believe that we've been cited unjustly as far as the amount of time we've been given and at the time of year it was given. I think if you're gonna do a cleanup, you should have, you're gonna start in one area and do it from that point on and get everybody. Just don't selectively pick people, but you got somebody out there snitching them out, you know, saying something about it. And give them a fair time in the summer to get the place cleaned up. Because most of this stuff is not ever there, you know what I mean? 2 weeks or a month or something like that. These vehicles have been there and stuff, people have collected over years, you know.
In the last paragraph of your letter here, you said you request an appeal before the Board of Commissioners as to whether these properties are in violation of Blackford County Ordinance 2015-11. So that's the basis of your appeal, is whether or not your vehicles are in violation. Is that what you're appealing?
My girlfriend wrote that up and I was hastily signing it
Okay.
to send it in because at the same time my brother died when I turned this stuff in, or he was in the hospital in Fort Wayne.
Okay.
So I went from one to the next one and get it sent in. Because the last date I could do this was on the day that I was going to find the casket for my brother out of Muncie, Indiana, and my girlfriend wrote that up.
Okay.
I don't know exactly what it said.
I'm just trying to get a feel for exactly what you're appealing.
I'm appealing your, the amount of time.
Okay.
There's no distance set forth on any of the, whatever it is, ordinance, how far you can be off the road. I mean, where does it all end? Can you use binoculars, you know, to see all this, zoom lenses on cameras and stuff? I mean, we can see clear out in outer space now. Where does it all end? I mean, you need a distance off the road and stuff, and a good time and date during the summertime for people to get this work done, and don't force them out into the cold trying to do stuff.
Okay. Any other questions?
Just think we should take this under advisement and we'll have it at our next meeting.
Mr. Lillard, our next
So it gives us
meeting
a chance also to talk to our attorney.
is December the 21st. We'll follow up with that meeting. Otherwise, we'll take it under advisement.
Okay, and my question, the last question is since I've been given a time limit so far, is that time limit on hold till you make your decision, then I'll be allowed a time limit after that period?
I think since he's requested appeal, yes.
Because like I said, I have been working on it. Because you see, I'm starting to catch a cold right now from messing with stuff.
Well, as long as you've been working on it, that's a movement in the right direction.
Right, and I said before I would work
Right.
and
So,
do things.
yeah, and we appreciate that.
But as long as my vehicles are running, and this is the case, right? As long as it's a running vehicle, a movable vehicle, there's no problem, right?
Mike, is that what the section says?
Pardon?
As long as it's mechanically operable and properly plated?
Yeah, but there's also a stipulation if it sits for so many hours or days, then
Hours?
at least like 48 hours or something.
Discuss that.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
discuss that.
discuss some of
We'll
that.
discuss
that.
That'll
Get
be
back
part of
with
it.
us on the 21st, Larry.
Okay, what time?
8:30 is when our meeting starts. We'll probably talk to you toward the end of the meeting.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like I
Okay.
said, only thing I ask is, to give people a fair shake, do it in summertime for people to get things cleaned up. Just don't throw that out there until winter. I know that you passed the ordinance in, but you should have sent out letters that your property's gonna be targeted and stuff.
Well, we didn't send out letters. What we do is, well, any other governmental agency does, and that's that by law, we have to post this for 30 days in the local newspaper and in other
Yeah.
places. We don't have to send letters to every resident of Blackford County, so.
Well, I
because
wouldn't say-
we're not targeting certain people. This is for the whole county.
But what I was saying, the people that you did target, you should have sent them a letter out, since there was only 15 of them,
Right.
instead of sending out registered letters with threats on them.
Okay. Well, we.
That's how I would like for you to change it. You know, if you got people that are doing this, go ahead and send them a letter first, and then tell them, say, well, you know, we're gonna do this, if they change the time and the step on it, and, see, give people a chance to work on it, instead of just saying, well, you gotta have this done like this, you know. 'Cause, you know, even farming, you don't get it all done in one day.
Right.
But like I said, all I'm asking for is a fair shake.
Okay.
For everybody in the county, not just me,
All right.
all right?
We appreciate it.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks for your input. You let the record show that we'll continue that at the next meeting. Good morning. You're up. This morning we have Joe Costello here. Yes.
I didn't know where I'd be on your agenda, so I,
Okay, Joe, 1 second. Were you here for the bids? Okay, we opened
We
those
opened
here
them
before
already.
9.
Let's see,
Bruce, can you get with him and give him those numbers?
Yes.
Okay. All right, today we have Joe Costello, county historian, to talk about the bison?
the Indiana Statehood Bicentennial
Yes, sir.
and our local participation. This is a bit of a summary. Most of the, wait a minute. Let me give you one that's got two sides to it. So yours got two sides to it? Indiana celebrates its 200th anniversary as a state in December 2016. The General Assembly has appropriated about $54 million for the celebration, and each county has been asked to participate. I have, by virtue of being county historian, I got volunteered to be also the coordinator for Blackford County. This is not a job as early as they wanted it to start that was easy to find participation and people involved in, because they started about a year ago to try to ramp this up. And it's a little bit early, 2 years out for people, but now everybody's beginning to get interested. There's, on this list that I've given you, there are 3 asterisks of things that, and one of which you already know you're participating in, which Blackford County is already scheduled to participate in. And then there's all these others that we can, that's on the back. I guess I didn't bring all the copies that had both sides, but you guys should have all gotten one that had both sides. Blackford County has been involved with the torch relay. The torch relay begins in Corydon, Indiana, the first state capital, in the beginning of September 2016. It proceeds through all 92 counties and loops around the state until it culminates in Indianapolis on Statehood Day, 11 December 2016, where a large celebration is planned in the state capitol. But Blackford County will have the torch pass through on the 28th of September in the morning of 2016, 28th September. We have been working most diligently on that, and again, like many other things, you may notice in some of the neighboring counties' newspapers that they all of a sudden discovered the torch relay about a month ago. The state's been talking about it for a year. And that's the kind of thing most of us have run into, is that when something's 2 years out, people don't get really involved. They have more immediate things to do, as you guys know, we all do. In Blackford County, I've had the assistance of David Bowman with the foundation, Blackford County Foundation, and Jaylene Bear Burkhart, who is with the Chamber, and they have assisted for the past couple of months, and we're quite a ways along. I'd say we're about 80% in participation. The torch relay is to honor prominent local people who have achieved, and they can be honored either in person or by proxy, so even some people who've passed away can be honored. And also symbolic and significant people, like I mentioned, veterans have been recruited from all the armed services and the wars. We've gotten a lot of support from the schools. They're willing to participate in different stages, and the plan includes their participation at different points. And we're in the process of trying to plan Montpelier's participation, although unfortunately we could not get the state people to have it actually go through Montpelier. But we have contacted, at least vicariously to date, and we haven't know how to do it in person, but we have communicated with astronaut Kevin Ford, but he's not sure what his schedule will be like in 2016. I have told them that when they speak to him to be sure that he's involved in the state level activities on 11th December if he's not here, because he's a prominent Hoosier that needs to be recognized that way. The torch is going to be engineered at Purdue. It's supposed to be non-extinguishable, and the caravan will pass through Indiana with several state officials that are part of the bicentennial project, coordinating it as it goes. You don't have to run. You can ride in a convertible. One county is doing nothing, but the farm, the ag club there is doing nothing but tractors all the way through the county. Another one's doing nothing but equestrian. So you can go on horseback. You can do anything you want to do. The torch is supposed to be fairly safe, and I hope it is, because at some point I'm supposed to be near it, so I don't want it to be unsafe. It's going to be a big deal. And let me give you some background on this historically. We have photos of the Historical Society that show the celebration in 1916. There were 20,000 people in Hartford City to see the parade. And there were 40 floats with every small county school represented doing historical things with the kids. And one person had ridden the interurban back from Indianapolis because it was the same morning across the state everywhere they had a celebration. In Indianapolis in the morning, and then they had the afternoon, they had local celebrations. And this person had come back from Indianapolis, and probably just to impress local people, said he thought Blackford County was as good as Indianapolis in 1916. But it was a big deal in 1916. That's the year we started our state parks as part of the celebration of the centennial. And that's the kind of thing the state has been encouraging that we do this time. So in the next paragraph, now everything below this line are remarks from Perry Hammock, who is the state chairman of the bicentennial, and his contact information is at the bottom on the back page for you guys. You're welcome to get a hold of him. The endorsement policies are legacy projects. We have 2 in Blackford County. As you see on here, as of December 1st, there's 665 legacy projects going on. The 2 that are going on in Blackford County are Women of Worth, are doing an excellent legacy project where they're taking down the reminiscences and memoirs of older folks in our community who can tell us about days long ago and their experiences with life long ago. And then the Good Seed Group out southeast of town, Beth Rhodes, has a pioneer cabin that's on her property that's been moved to that property, and she's setting up a legacy program so school children can go through. Now, the exterior has been changed, but it's got actually the original pioneer cabin room inside, and so her tours are going to be of the small space that was the original cabin. There can be other legacy projects. Some people, one legacy project, we have, I think, one designated wooded area that's kind of a legacy project under DNR. If you have an old growth original forest on your property, you can get that designated. You don't have to give up ownership or anything, but there's a woods out near Elizabethtown that I think belonged to the Christ family that's already a legacy project in Blackford County and has been for several years. These are kind of adding to those. If they're endorsed, you can say that this is a bicentennial project. Some states, like Maryland, have even done trees from been growing there when they became the state or when the country started. So there's lots of things that can be done that way. you all, as commissioners, already know that on December 11th of this year, we're going to kick off the official bicentennial year. You've had the proclamation on that. You know that we have flags to be displayed on public buildings, and that's already underway. The last one that the asterisk is about that we're very hopeful and likely to be able to participate is lots of localities, including us, submitted the concept that we should have a local art project involving kids. And one of the things they really want to do with the bicentennial in Indiana is involve young people, because the concept is they're the ones that are going to be around the longest to tell their children and grandchildren about the statehood bicentennial, and also to be more conscious of Indiana history and our local history in Blackford County. Blackford County doesn't have a real edge up on being able to say what was going on here in 1816 unless we could recognize just Native Americans and the Godfrey tribe and that kind of thing, because the first records of settlement in Blackford County by European descendants was in 1824. And that's the way it is in the northern 2/3 of the state. So that's also part of the problem historians are having. Just a little bit north of Corydon, there wasn't anybody in 1816. And so, but Native Americans. But there also is the Native American angle to it. I spoke to the DAR on Saturday, the local chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution, and one of the persons who did a program that morning was a Native American descendant and talked about their customs in this area. So that's an angle we could look at. The Godfrey Reserve has been a long-time project with people who wanted to preserve in some way or another. We looked into it as a legacy project, and under the DNR there are some monies for that, but preliminaries are expensive and they don't pay for it. You have to do a study and acquisition cost. And most people don't know this, but the Godfrey Reserve has the farthest eastern shortgrass prairie, natural shortgrass prairie in the United States on it. And it's worth preserving even at the federal level. It's changed a lot from farming, but I've been there several times over the last 30 years, and there's still little patches of growth and flora and fauna that you see in shortgrass prairies, so I think it could be restored. Unlike the one near Upland, which is an artificial restoration. It wasn't really a prairie in the first place. So on kickoff day, proclamations will go into effect, and we will start and we'll begin displaying the flags, and we hope that locally there will be a lot more involvement. The statewide art project that I started to talk about comes up because several counties like ours propose we'd like to do a local one. So evidently the state's decided to do a statewide project. I'm in contact with the Arts Place and with the Arts Council and Montpelier folks about how we can participate in that, but that's going to be mostly children. And then on the back are other things we could do. There's a commemorative book coming out, and I've already submitted some things from Blackford County for that. There's also being one done at Purdue that I need a writer project on this because they want nothing but amateurs, but I think it's IU Purdue Fort Wayne's doing this. They want sustainability industries and businesses and agricultural practices going on in your county. And they want just like a 200-word essay, some pictures, and the owner of the property or the business, what they're doing. But they want to include all 92 counties, and we've got to submit ours. Other than that, you see the medal. There will be a bicentennial stamp put out by the United States Postal Service next year, and we'll get an early preview of what it's going to look like. They're in the process of designing that, so it'll be 200-year anniversary of Indiana. Will have its own stamp. You guys might want to buy a bunch of those to use to show you're from Indiana. That's pretty much it. Do you have any questions?
No, not right now. Fred, I don't know if you know this, but we're supposed to be at City Hall at noon on Friday.
For a photo op for
Yeah.
proclamation going into effect. I think
And
you
then-
guys have already acted on it. but
And then Max received one flag. Okay.
if you need more, there's places to order them, and I think that I don't know if one will last a year.
Well, and that said on the building, and we were thinking about putting the fly underneath the flag, on the flagpole. And if that's the case, I'm gonna have to buy another one.
Yeah.
Okay,
And-
that's all right.
And I don't know if you have to buy one, because they said they had 600 and some
Okay.
purchased. So
I'll
just
get
tell
back
them-
with you about time.
I submitted the original count, I think, and how many they should send, and I didn't think of that at the time, but I fly a flag, and I've been very fortunate that I found a place that has a U.S. flag that almost doesn't wear out. But, so I bought 3 of them at the time, and I'm still on the first one, and that was 2 years ago. But they're hard to find. They don't, and up that high, they will wear out.
All right.
Sure, yeah. Had a governor from Blackford County.
Well, that's what we thought about. In fact, I'll tell you, Harry, the problem was we had a line. In fact, we didn't have it sent out so Wayne could see it on Governor Clifford Townsend's Packard. And the fellow that had his Packard was in town one day at the Historical Society. We sent him out to Wayne's so Wayne could see it. Unfortunately, that gentleman passed away, and his Packard's now in Nevada. But we thought we could have it in the torch relay. But we followed up on that, but it was worth buying. I'll tell you what, though, I can't believe it was kind of a yellow-green. It might have been the ugliest colored car I ever saw.
Well, Joe, thank you very much. We
You're
appreciate
welcome. We're getting there. One of the things that, I have a rough time with Indianapolis is we get this one size-fits-all type of thing, and they don't know what our resources are, and it's like most things. The people who do things here for this are doing things for other things. The volunteer section's a little more limited than other places, but we're moving along. We'll let you guys know.
I appreciate that. We'll see you Friday.
Okay.
We're signing photo op for the proclamation.
Okay, let's see here. Let's go back down through here. Does anybody have anything else? Any public comment before we get to it? Oh, Harold.
Yeah,
There you are.
I'm here.
Yeah.
I need a signature on this letter to IU.
Okay. Are you gonna?
It's the closing letter.
Are you gonna be there all this week or in and out?
I'll be in now. Let me know if it's
I will get it through. This week.
okay. This is the navigation to the.
Oh.
I just don't, all I do is get rid of stuff.
Phone calls are good now. And here's what, I'm sending this to, there, we got the sign posted. The closings, that's a requirement. Second, I have a better picture of the sign itself, showing the opening.
I don't see this thing, thank you. That's the way I get my news.
Okay.
I'll get with Bruce and we'll get to see this week.
Okay.
Okay?
All right,
All right. Anything else?
that's it right now.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harold. Any other department heads?
I got a question while
Yes.
he's still here.
Yeah.
When's the last day you can dump out
Last Friday.
there? Well, that pile will be in front of the door, don't worry.
Well, they've got it posted to be the
18th?
31st, but it would be nice to shut down a little bit earlier.
I thought it was the 18th.
I've been getting calls with all kinds of numbers, so I don't know where they're coming from.
I don't know where you got the 18th from.
I've never heard the 18th before.
I heard,
Didn't that give them 2
I heard
weeks to get everything up,
23rd,
so
Oh, I see what you're saying.
when the end of the year comes, it's going.
It definitely is gonna be over at the end of the year, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So I got to the end of the
No,
year.
no.
I'll be there for the 18th.
You have got this week.
Well, if it don't rain, I'll probably be out there.
What the rain got to do with it? There's no mud back here.
Well, I got where my tractor over.
Well,
I don't want
hey,
to side with the guy
hey.
there bitching about the color. I got a bad location for my tractor.
All right. Let's move along here. All right.
Mike Nielsen from Government Fixed Assets, he did all our capital assets for last year. We want to know if that's okay to do it this year. It's coming out of the auditor's budget, $14,018. So we do it for state board of accounts. Yes, that would be okay to do that again next year for all our fixed assets.
We talked about this, but that's something we have to be doing every year. And fixed assets that we've never done before.
Right. But I think we can do it.
that part of it. I think there's another
Because
part
we have
that we
companies.
decided, right. This is the part we have to do. Harry moves. Harry seconds, all in favor? Okay, so how about, let's do the, do you have anything else other than claim payroll?
I have, golden tickets from work one that just needs to be signed.
Oh.
The commissioners, it's a
Okay.
certificate they give,
Right.
some, where they complete a program.
Right.
So I'll do that afterwards, but I just want to be sure that. they
Okay.
sign those.
Thank you.
Okay.
So let's go ahead and do the claims.
Accounts payable claims $453,839.34. It is up quite a bit, and $195,000 is the jail bond that we did pay on that one. So that's almost half.
Better, get close to the end of that, right?
We have one more payment, and
One
we're
more
doing the
payment.
spring of next year.
Okay,
I think April or May, I can't remember what.
Yeah.
One,
I thought we were close.
yes, one more payment.
Good. Good.
Move approval, claims.
Fred moves approval, Harry seconds, all those 3-0. Payroll?
It's $102,216.69.
Harry moves approval, Fred seconds, all those in favor? 3-0. Anything else? Gentlemen, anything else? Any further business? Aaron, good morning. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second to adjourn, all those in favor? Meeting adjourned. Thank you.
Yeah, you guys are doing a good job.
It definitely.
I look at the paper, I think, man.
I said, I have no, all I do is take care of Jim. I don't have somebody else to do it. Yes, right. I'll move it back. Yeah, but I've got, I'm going to wait. Because I
I
gotta
know, you guys can build, I love it. I got people that can,
I sometimes. I will talk to them.
Say, Max.
I've got
yeah, but I've been trying to encourage somebody to sponsor. Yeah, email is always better, for sure always gonna have people.
Close to 10 of them have some of the younger ones.
Well, that's true.
And Twitter and Instagram, so I get it to you.
Really? Really? I hadn't thought about that. Haven't helped us all.
Since we had already talked to you, these two guys.
Texting.
It doesn't have to.
Well, good to see you. Take care of yourself.
Huh?
Hope it's better.
I'll pop up here.
Okay, all right, good.
Question for you.
Thank you, Kathy.
You're welcome.
Jail.
What's the second meeting for the county?
I have it upstairs. but I
You say the
don't-
last payment will be made when?
Spring of 2016.
Spring in 2016.
I got through and they
There's a money letter in there.
and touched it back.
Thank you for all.
I do not know.
How much was it?
Yeah.
Payment. Are you paying that?
Yeah, well, both, I guess.
I don't know. I was trying to